أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
وقال للذي from there أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال للذي ظن أنه ناج منهما اذكرني عند ربك فأنساه الشيطان ذكر ربه فلبث في السجن بضع سنين. Our respected elders and brothers, if we remember, last week we covered the part of Yusuf alayhi salam where the wife of Azizi Misr made her last efforts to solicit and to persuade Yusuf alayhi salam into fornication, into haram. And the way she did this was by bringing other ladies into it, making them involved, showing off the beauty of Yusuf alayhi salam to them, and then they in turn trying to influence Yusuf alayhi salam that he should carry on and fulfill the wishes of the wife of Aziz Misr, of the governor of Misr. Yusuf alayhi salam was then at a crossroads in his life and chose the path of taqwa and made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the threat of the wife of the governor of Misr was that you should go to jail if you don't fulfill this need I want. So Yusuf alayhi salam then chose the prison, the harder way, but the way of taqwa. He was tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah ta'ala opened up the ways for him, and he went to jail in order to protect himself from this zina. There when Yusuf alayhi salam went in, we know that jail is a place of sinners, a place where people did crimes, people who are wrongdoers. So such a pure and great person, the likes of Yusuf alayhi salam, going into the jail, a person who's sinless, Allah Ta'ala has already mentioned that he was already granted with the hikmah and the ilm and ta'wil al-ru'ya, he was able to interpret dreams. So we can only imagine how he stood out in jail and how he affected the other prisoners. He became the leader of that jail, and all of the prisoners became his students. In there he met two young men. These both young men were in jail because they were both accused of poisoning the king. One was the cook of the king, the other one used to give him his drink. And they explained two dreams to Yusuf alayhi salam, in which one of them was actually, from the dream we can find out from the dream, that he was the one that tried to poison the king, and he was going to be crucified by the king, and that was the interpretation of the dream. And the other one would continue giving drink and being the champagne giver and giving the champagne and the drink to the king. He would continue on that. He was innocent, and Yusuf alayhi salam told him his innocence before he even was already. After that, or before giving the interpretation, Yusuf alayhi salam, of course, being a Nabi of Allah Ta'ala and not just a person who interprets dreams, gave da'wah to these two young men who were in the prison, and gave the da'wah of tawheed and called them to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ayat which we're dealing with today, Yusuf alayhi salam, on bidding farewell to this person who became innocent, and after the dream came about true, and the one who was feeding the king became guilty, and he was being taken and killed, and the other one who was innocent. So before he left, Yusuf alayhi salam then told him, and Allah Ta'ala says here, وَقَالَ لِلَّذِي ظَنَّ أَنَّهُ نَاجٍ. And Yusuf alayhi salam said to that one who he knew was going to be saved, that one who he knew was going to become free, and the interpretation of the dream was such that he was innocent and he would return back to the kingdom and serve the king. اُذْكُرْنِي عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ. So Yusuf alayhi salam told him to mention me by your leader, by your king. Rabb here means Malik, the king. When you go back to your king and your leader, mention me to him. Tell him about me. Tell him that I am here in this prison and what I am going through. But فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانِ. But shaitan made him forget ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ, reminding of his king. He forgot. When he came out, he forgot. But shaitan was the one that made him forget, as he does to most people, where he makes them forget about khair and good things. فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضَعَ سِنِينَ. So then Yusuf alayhi salam, because of this forgetfulness and this nisyan, he remained in the prison for many more years. Bid'a sinin in the Arabic language, bid'a usually is anywhere from 3 to 10. So no less than 3 and no more than 10 years, which is quite a bit of time in jail. Yusuf alayhi salam could have been 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 10. He spent that time in jail. The fact that Yusuf alayhi salam has now asked this person to mention him and to remind him of me in the jail. So the ulama of tafsir have usually two views about this. One view is again a little bit away from the maqam of the Anbiya and seems to be a little bit of a criticism of the Anbiya or Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam. And one tafsir would be more appropriate according to the shan and the condition and the greatness of the Anbiya. That tafsir is the one we will take. The first tafsir would be that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaving him in jail for 3 to 10 years more, it was actually, so to say, a punishment to Yusuf alayhi salam. Because Yusuf alayhi salam, by mentioning to this prisoner to remind me to your king, tell your king about me so that I can get out of here, the jail, and he can remember me. So this was, so to say, a little bit away from the demands of tawakkul of the Nabi. The Nabi should have better tawakkul and reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he should be making dua to Allah ta'ala, asking Allah ta'ala to free him, and not asking the means of a person or another prisoner to go mention it to the king of Misr so that he may get him out. So therefore these ulama of tafsir, they say that for that, in lieu of that, and in exchange of that, we wouldn't say a sin. There's a saying in Arabic, a eulogy in Arabic, that they say when they describe the, not wrongdoings, but the mistakes of the Anbiya, and they call it Hasanatul Abrar, Sayyiatul Mukarrabeen. That the good deeds of the Abrar, the pious people, their good deeds, in actuality are the sins of those people who are very close to Allah Ta'ala. Right? For example, these days, right? If we look at the people of the past, right? We come to the masjid 5 times a day. We pray our salats first saf, right? Takbiri, tahrima, But one Saturday, Sunday, on our day off, we went for a picnic. Or we took the kids out for pizza, right? Pious people, we are pious and it's no problem. It's halal also. It's totally okay. Totally fine to do. That's for the abrar. For those who are muqarrab, very close to Allah Ta'ala. Pizza kate. You eating pizza? That was in the restaurant, right? Yes. Who cooked it? The guy in the back. Did he say Bismillah? You make dhikr of Allah Ta'ala? What is, that store, did he... A lot of questions come in the muqarrabeen mind. They don't eat out. They don't do these type of things. So, what is the good deeds for the guy, the abrar, the pious man? Sometimes according to the person who is, very, very pious, a level higher who is muqarrab, it actually happens to be a sin. In hadith we get ishara from this also. The Sahaba used to tell the tabi'een that the things that you do, we were much more careful in regards to the things that you do to what we did. We were much more careful and we didn't do the things that... This is the tabi'een and sahaba, can we imagine? This is tabi'een who are, fasting all day and worshipping Allah Ta'ala, but the sahaba were warning them that you guys are getting into sin now. You're starting to sin. So the ulama, they say this saying, Hasanat al-Abrar, Sayyiat al-Muqarrabeen, that though, it was something that was not very wrong, but because his closeness to Allah Ta'ala was so great, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accordingly, it was not appropriate for his office or his status of nubuwwat. But that would be a little bit, many of the muhaqqiqeen and the research scholars say that we don't like to criticize the Anbiya like this. We try to keep their ismat and their innocence, that there actually is nothing really wrong that they are doing. So the ulama of tahqiq, those who are the research mufassirin like Ibn Kathir wa ghayra, they have said that there's basically two things that Yusuf alayhi salam mentioned before this. That was the da'wat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave him da'wah. He called him towards the oneness of Allah ta'ala. And the second one was ta'wil al-ru'ya, that he was interpreting their dreams. And there was no mention in here that Yusuf alayhi salam is saying that I'm suffering so much in this jail, please. There's no mention of that. Actually, the ayat and the way he's speaking seems to be that he's quite fine. And we told you from the mu'arrikheen and the mufassirin, they mentioned that the head of the jail already became the student of Yusuf alayhi salam, and he had leisure. He ran the whole jail, Yusuf alayhi salam. But out of honor of the rules of the land, he did not leave the prison. But if he wanted to leave, he would have got the keys and left also. The leader of the prison was already under him and was his murid, and he was a student. So the ulama of tafsir, who are the muhaqqiqeen and more researched, they say that only two things are mentioned before this: the da'wat of Yusuf alayhi salam, and also the fact that he interprets dreams. Therefore, udhkurni inda rabbik, mention me to your Lord. We will be compelled to say that the mentioning to his Lord or to his leader or his king, or reminding his king that Yusuf is in jail, would not be that Yusuf is suffering and please free him. It would be that Yusuf alayhi salam, mashallah, is a muwahid. He believes in Allah Ta'ala, and we heard this incredible da'wah from him, because the king of Misr also was a worshipper of idols. So we heard this incredible da'wah from him, and we were very interested. And second thing, mashallah, he interprets dreams, and everybody likes that, right? Everybody wants their dream interpreted. Right? 10, 11 o'clock at night, the Maulvi Sahib who can interpret dreams, he gets the call right at there, right? The guy wakes up 3 o'clock in the morning, and he calls one of the mashayikh came, Sheikh Harun. I think he told the joke here too. So he said at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, he got one call from one person. So when he answered the phone, first of all, the guy told him that, Sheikh, are you up? Are you awake? So he said, no, I'm sitting here waiting for your phone call to come. So then he said that, listen, I just had a baby boy, and I want you to give me a name of him. I need a good name. But I want such a name that nobody has named their child like this ever. No other person gave their son this name. So the person said, oh my God, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. We can't do this. If you name him now, it's no big deal. Even Aqiqah, the sunnah is name on the Aqiqah. You still have some days left, but we name them now. Maybe the paperwork is there, they're waiting. But can we do this no, I need the name now, and something that no one has ever named their child this. So the Shaykh was quite a funny person, a joker. So he said, okay, name him Shaitan. Nobody gave their kid the name Shaitan. You want to do Shaitani and call me 1 o'clock in the morning? So there's your Shaitan back at you. So I forgot where I was coming from with this, where I went from. But basically, so we'll be compelled to say from the siyaq, from the ayats that were leading to this, that Yusuf alayhi salam was actually telling this person that remind him that I'm a muwahid, I'm a believer in Allah Ta'ala. Tell him your experience with me, and tell him also that I interpret dreams as well, which is an incredible thing, quality. But of course we see that shaitan made him forget. And this shows us that shaitan does make us forget things. Right? That's why we have to always remember, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And sometimes, most of the time, it's the khair that Allah Ta'ala will make us forget. And I always tell my students in the school, Humpty Dumpty, all the songs when I was first grade, I still know them. Even my, Catholic prayers that I used to do, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be, still know them. But I memorized, Surah Qalam last week, and I'm just forgetting it. The hadith I learned only 5 years ago, it's coming out of my mind. But that thing, third grade, I see the guy and I remember, what I said to him on a Tuesday in third grade, the third week of the year. I remember. So this is shaitan. Shaitan, he makes you forget the khair. So obviously this person must have went out and enjoyed himself. He's a free man. He got involved in his work, saw his family, and he now forgot about Yusuf alayhi salam. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانِ. So then he, unfortunately, stayed in the jail for many years after that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now goes to another segment of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam is in jail. He's spending his years there, making sabr. And outside now, the king of Misr. This is not Aziz of Misr, but this is the king of Misr now, the head honcho. Most of the ulama say his name was Rayyan bin Walid. Rayyan bin Walid. He was the king of Misr at that time, of Yusuf alayhi salam. And he says here, and Allah Ta'ala mentions the ayat about the dream that he saw. The ayat reads, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ يَأْكُلُهُنَّ سَبْعُ عِجَافٌ وسبع سنبلات خضر وأخر يابسات يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في رؤياي إن كنتم للرؤيا تعبرون. So here, the king says that قول الملك. The king said that, verily I see sab'a. Sab'a is 7 in the Arabic language. 7 baqarat. We know baqarat is what? Cows. 7 cows, simanin, which are fat. Fat, plump cows. I see 7 of them. Ya'kuluhunna. And they are being eaten by sab'un ijaf. 7 lean cows, skinny cows, malnutritioned cows. They are eating the 7 fat cows. What it looked like, Allah Ta'ala knows best. وَسَبَعَ سُنْبُلَاتٍ. And 7 ears, green ears. Now, green ears doesn't mean green ears this. Sumbulat means green ears of corn. And if you're wondering about, I'm not a farm boy or anything, but basically there's a few parts of the corn, right? The little yellow things are called the kernels. Those grow on the cob. And when the whole cob is, grown and the kernels are all complete, so that whole thing is called an ear of corn. Okay? So 7 green ones, and obviously if they are green, so they must be with their husk over it. You know the corn has a husk. I don't know if you guys, if you go barbecue and you put the corn on, right? So you have to take that husk off, that protective thing, which Allah Ta'ala Allah Ta'ala calls it in the Quran. It's a husk. It protects the corn. Once you take it off, then you better eat it quickly. So I saw 7 of these, ears, corns, and then I saw 7 more which were dry. Meaning they were corns, but the outside husk was brown, like you people have seen the corn when it's not harvested at the right time, it goes bad, so it becomes brown, that husk, and it becomes old. Or if you go to the supermarket and you buy your corn, some of them are green, some of them are brown, a little bit drier. So there were 7 more dry ones. And of course, he didn't say ya'kuluhunna, but there was something going on with these that some ulama say that the 7 ones were over the 7 green ones. Or some say it was even eating also. The 7 dry ones were eating the 7, green ones, the 7 fresh ones. Yabisat. Yabisat means dry. Ya ayyuhal mala'u. So the king then says, Ya ayyuhal mala'u, all my courtiers, all my people. So he had all his governors and his people there, his ulama, whoever his scholars were. All of his people were around him. And he said, all my people, aftuni fi ru'yaya. Tell me your opinion. Aftuni, if afta yufti means to give an answer. So give the fatwa, right? Give the fatwa. Give me an answer, fi ru'yaya, in regards to your opinion about this dream. Tell me your opinion. What do you think about this dream? What does it mean? I'm very confused about it, and I'm also worried also. In kuntum lid-ru'ya ta'burun, if you are such people who can interpret the dreams. You can interpret dreams, then, tell me about what this dream means. So interpretation of dreams, we know, even amongst the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is not everyone's cup of tea. Everybody cannot interpret the dreams. Me, myself, I don't interpret dreams. People come all the time, I saw this, I saw that, I saw that. It's very interesting, mashallah. I don't know what the hell it means. We don't do the dreams, right? Some people, they have that ability in hadith, and they have studied the hadith, they have sat with the mashayikh who know the meanings of the dreams. Usually it's passed on from ulama to ulama. There's some experiences there that they have. And also, they read the books of Ibn Sirin and these, books of the past showing how to, interpret the dreams. But not everybody can do it. Some people can, some people can't. And Rasulullah used to do it as well. Rasulullah, he would, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would have a special time after Fajr where he would sit and he would ask the Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum that who saw a dream last night so I could interpret it. And the Sahaba would come and tell him his dreams. So dreams are a very important aspect of life, but of course because dreams can be, and we explained this in the beginning, dreams can be of different type of categories, so they don't have any type of bearing decision on Sharia. If you see something in a dream, you can't act upon that. You understand? If you see someone, for example, the Mashayikh give the example of your own self. If you see your own self every day in a dream that you are burning in the fire of hell, but you are a person who is making amal an deen and you are doing the good deeds, inshallah your abode will be Jannah, it will not be hell. That dream is wrong. So that's how dreams are. So anyway, the people then around him, his courtiers, they were not people who knew how to interpret dreams. It was something that they didn't do. Allah Ta'ala sent this Nabi of Yusuf alayhi salam as a great, as an outstanding person. He was a person who can interpret dreams. No one else can do these type of things. So they told the king and they replied, قَالُوا أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ قَالُوا أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ. They said, this is a mixture of dreams. You got some confusing thoughts, king. Kuch nahi hai. You're just dreaming. Like many of us, we put off dreams, right? You see a dream and you explain to the person. The person tells you, what the hell are you worried about this dream? It means nothing. You're with your father, then after that you're running in a rubber band, and then you're riding a bike backwards, and then you went back home. All crazy dreams. Don't worry about it. It means nothing. So they also said this, أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ. 7 fat cows eating 7 skinny ones. It has no meaning. You just ate too much last night. So أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ. أَضْغَاث means actually ikhtilat, something mixed. In the surah in regards to Ayyub alayhi salam, Allah Ta'ala says, فَخُذْ ذِغْتًا, right? Take a bunch of branches, meaning a bunch of branches which are mixed up with wet and dry branches. Take a bunch of them. So something which is all mixed up, this is called adghath. And ahlam means a dream. So this was a mixed up dream. Just something wrong, has no meaning to it. Then after that, of course, they told him, وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ أَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. And anyway, we don't know the interpretations of dreams anyway. We're just telling you, forget about it. But we don't know the interpretations of dreams. We're not saying this with any knowledge. From our own experiences, we don't regard these dreams as anything, so you should not regard it also. After this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now, this person who's sitting here, now he remembers, Now he remembers about Yusuf alayhi salam. So, wait, ta'wili ru'ya. And why he remembered, of course, we know. Because now he has some benefit for this. Now's my time to shine. If I come in the front, nobody knows the interpretation, I can do it. I go in front and tell the king, I can sort out, I can get this dream done for you. MashaAllah. Look at this guy, he helped me out. So this is when shaitan, he moves away and he gives you the ability. It's mentioned at the time of, and Mashayikh had mentioned, different Mashayikh was this, Wallahu alam, Allah knows best. But the books that we were reading, at one time, the time of Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, that one man came to him late at night and told him, Sheikh, I want to ask some questions. And people used to come with questions of fiqh and hadith of Abu Hanifa. He was the scholar of the time. So he told him, yes, what do you want and what can I do for you? Probably a fiqh question, something. He said, I have dug up some gold. I had some gold and I dug it in my ground to keep it secure in my house, and I forgot where I put it. I don't know where it's in the ground, which part it is. I don't know. I can't find my money. So Abu Hanifa said, Sheikh, I am a person who can answer the questions of Islamic jurisprudence. If you have a hadith question, something about tafsir, I'll be glad to. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm supposed to find your money now? The man said, please help me. I've gone to many people, nobody can help me. Try to find my money. So Abu Hanifa did not know how I'm not going to go there and start digging up holes in his house. I don't know where's the last place you left it. Probably, if I knew that, then I would have found it already. Right? That's what people say when you lose something. Where's the last place you kept it? I wouldn't be in front of you if that was the case. I would have found it already if I knew the last place. So he told him, Sheikh, go pray, go home and start your salat and pray the whole night and cry to Allah Ta'ala. Pray the salat and inshallah you'll find it. So the person said, okay, I'll try it. Didn't seem so amusing, but he said, okay, let me do it. Shaykh told me this. So he goes home, he makes his wudu, and he starts his Allahu Akbar. And very concentrating, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The nighttime also, right? The nighttime is always the best for the salat. You can hear yourself reciting, there's no cars. So he starts a very beautiful salat. Now shaitan sees and says, oh my God, if this man is to pray salat the whole night, and after that Allah Ta'ala puts it back in his mind that he knows where his money is, this man will turn to me and any time he has difficulty. So the shaitan said, bye, it's right under the table over there. While he's in salat. Makes the salam, goes over there, digs it up, and he gets his money. The next day, when he goes to Abu Hanifa, so he told Abu Hanifa said, what happened to your money? Did you find it? He said, once I started the salat, then I found the money. Then Abu Hanifa said, this is what I thought would happen. The shaitan, he works like this. So the shaitan made him forget when it was for the benefit of Yusuf alayhi salam. There was no benefit for him to actually mention. Actually, it could be a problem also. He goes to the king and tells him, Yusuf is in jail. The one that had the governor problem? Why are you mentioning it? What are you trying to do with me? So now it's his benefit. Now he can shine. So that's why he remembers it now. So Allah Ta'ala mentions, وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَا مِنْهُمَا وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ فَأَرْسِلُونَ. He says, وَقَالَ الَّذِي, and that person who from amongst those two men was saved. Right? Meaning the one who had the good dream and now he's back with the king giving him his drink. وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ. And he remembered after a very long time. Ummatin here means waqt. He remembered after a very long time. Ana unabbi'ukum bita'wilihi. I can tell you what the interpretation is. He didn't say. He still what? Look at this. He still didn't say that I know Yusuf. Yusuf's in jail. He had told me to remember. I forgot everything. Let me go back to him. He's a great person. He still said what? Ana unabbi'ukum. I'll tell you. Fa'arsilun. Just send me. And I'll come back with your answer. Who are you going to? Don't worry about it. But just send me. Let me go. So this is this is how insan works. Allah Ta'ala is showing us that this is the way insan works. That's why we have to turn to Allah Ta'ala. Right? One of our friends, he sat next to one of the mashayikh who came to visit us in the school and gave a very heart-rendering talk. And then after Maghrib it was finished and then he sat down. After the Asr, he gave the talk to Maghrib and he sat down and my friend happened to sit next to him. And he just looked to him and he told him, out of nowhere, the shaykh told him, my young student, don't give your heart to anyone except Allah Ta'ala. Don't give your heart to anyone except Allah. So this shows you, this is what the people, this is what they do. They forget you. And then when they remember you, they don't remember you 100%. And they also remember you for some reason. But Allah Ta'ala, when you, remember Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala remembers you. And not only remembers you, He remembers you in a gathering which is great in front of the malaika. And He brags about you also. He brags about you to the malaika. So we should not give our heart to anyone, only give our heart to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So He said, فَأَرْسِلُونَ. Send me. فَأَرْسِلُونِي. Send me out and I'll show you what this dream means. So now he comes to Yusuf alayhi salam. يوسف أيها الصديق أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخر يابسات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون. He says Yusuf, he comes back after so many years. Look at the akhlaq of the Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam. There's so many years. Yusuf, ayyuha siddiq, oh my good friend. Oh truthful one, my good friend. Aftina, please tell us. Fi 7 baqaratin, please tell us of a dream that in it there was 7 cows which were fat. They were eating 7 lean cows were eating them. And there was also 7 ears of corn which were green. And those were being disposed of by 7 7 dry ears of corn. لَعَلِّي أَرْجِعُ إِلَى النَّاسِ. It's possible that if you tell me the dream, I'll return back to the people. And Nas here, the ulama say, means king. You don't want to say I'll turn back to the king, even though he's hiding it from him. But I'll go back to the people, the king. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. So they may know. The ulama say يَعْلَمُونَ, the maf'ul, meaning this is a fail, this is a verb. So the subject of the verb has been dropped off. It could mean يَعْلَمُونَ تَعْوِيلَ الرُّؤْيَا. They can know the interpretation of this dream. Or it could mean يعني يَعْلَمُونَكَ. They may know you. The same way you told me before to remember the king. I forgot. Now's a great opportunity for me to now tell them the dream, and then they'll know who you are, Yusuf. So I forgot, but now we've got another opportunity, and I can now go tell the king who you are. Look at the beautiful akhlaq. This is a person who forgot. If this was us, and we said, listen, go tell the judge, or go tell this, or give this letter to my wife, and it was important, and you're in jail, and the guy comes back after the 7 years, and he forgot. And then he comes back, not even saying sorry, but he comes back what? Do me a favor. Give me another interpretation. Let me get another $10,000. So what would we say? It wouldn't be jaiz for us to say those things in the masjid right now. The replies we'd give him, what we'd say to him, only Allah knows best. But these are the anbiya, and these are the great akhlaq, and the great etiquettes that they had. So Yusuf alayhi salam suddenly just gives him the answer and doesn't even mention what happened. قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حسدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون. Yusuf alayhi salam replied and said, تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا. You will sow the ground, you will cultivate the ground for 7 years. Da'aba, consecutively. So consecutively for 7 years, you will now work on the ground and you will get your crops ready. And that also is the corn, sowing when you sow the ground, then the crops will come out, which is the corn, and also the cows will eat from there. Everything comes from this. Everything comes from this sowing of the ground. So he said, فَمَا حَسَدْتُمْ. So this would be the ta'wil of the 7 fat cows, the 7 fat cows, and the 7 green husks, the 7 green, it would be these 7 years. 7 years of work, and mashallah, 7 years of good, nice things. فَمَا حَسَدْتُمْ فَذَرُوهُ فِي سُنبُلِهِ. Whatever you harvest from there, when you're ready to take that corn out, so فَذَرُوهُ, leave it in its husk. Do not take it out. Meaning conserve it, save it. Don't eat it all. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. Except for that which you eat from. I'm not saying save all of it, you have to eat also. So eat a portion of it, but don't have a good old time and finish everything. Don't eat with your eyes. And eat with the understanding that there's some difficult years coming up. So do some saving, conserve some food. So most ulama say this was the 7 years, which in the dream signified the 7 cows which were fat. Then Allah Ta'ala says after this, ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ 7 شِدَادٌ يَأْكُلْنَ مَا قَدَّمْتُمْ لَهُنَّ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تُحْسِنُونَ. He says, ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ 7. Then after that 7 more years will come. Shidadun, hard years, difficult years. There will be no rain, difficulty. يَأْكُلْنَ مَا قَدَّمْتُمْ لَهُنَّ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تُحْسِنُونَ. And those 7 years, they will eat that which you had placed forward. Meaning that which you saved up, the 7 years will now get rid of all that. You'll finish it up. Whatever you saved up, it's going to get finished. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تُحْسِنُونَ. Except for the little bit that you double preserved. Some of the stuff that you preserved, the extra stuff you preserved, extra preservation, that will be saved. But everything else that you saved up and you didn't eat, that's all going to be gone in those 7 years. So this would be the 7 difficult years. This would be the 7 skinny cows. 7 skinny cows. After this then, he mentions about the next 7 years. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. Then after that will come years. After that will come a year. فيه يغاث الناس. In it the people will get relieved from rain. Meaning the rain will come down and the people will then get relieved. Meaning the crops will start growing again. وفيه يعصرون. And you will be squeezing the fruits. When the fruits are very good, so you can take them right off and forget about going to the supermarket for juice. You can just squeeze the juice right out. They're so juicy. So the barakat and the blessings will come then for the next 7 years, and then all of that juice you'll be able to just squeeze it out from the juice, meaning you'll be in good condition. So this was the 21-year span that Yusuf alayhi salam had told him, and this was the interpretation of the dream, which would of course be a good tunes in the ears of the king, who would be able to protect his kingdom and be able to prepare for this drought. So after that, Yusuf alayhi salam tells, after that of course, obviously Yusuf alayhi salam, the person leaves and now goes back to the king, and this person tells the king about this dream, and the king is amazed at this interpretation. And he realizes and understands that this is exactly what's going to happen, and we have something special sitting there in the jail that should not be there, he should be coming out. But he doesn't now think about the fact that Yusuf alayhi salam was accused of something. He just wants to bring him out for his own benefit. You can come in, be part of my government, ta'wil al-ru'ya, if I have another dream, you can tell me. You're a very smart person, intelligent, I need you on my team. So this is his fikr, this is his worry. But the worry of Yusuf alayhi salam is that when I come out, I don't want this, shadow of guilt over me. That now people are still saying that, hey, why was he in jail for 7 years? You remember what happened to him? Even though he was innocent. So that's why this comes in the Quran here. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ الرَّسُولُ قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة اللاتي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم. Here, the king then says, after this person comes to him and tells him about the dream, ائتوني به, bring Yusuf alayhi salam to me. I want him here with me and my team. This man's very valuable. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ الرَّسُولُ, when the messenger of the king came to Yusuf alayhi salam and said, come, open the door, and said, let's go, you're going back to the king's throne, we need you over there. So Yusuf alayhi salam, so much sabr, so much grace as a Nabi. So he says to him, قَالِ ارْجِعْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ, I'm not leaving now. You go back to your king. فَاسْأَلْهُ, and ask him that, what is the case of those ladies who cut their hands? Those ladies who tried to seduce me and solicit me to be with the wife of Aziz in Misr, the governor of Misr, and tried to blame me and went with it and know my innocence. You call them, and I want this, the case to be reopened. I want the case to be reopened, and they must be questioned again. I've been put in here, I'm innocent. So he wants now his innocence to be proven before he comes out. And this is very important, because when Yusuf alayhi salam comes about, of course, his work would not just be being the king and going back into the king, but he has a work of nubuwwah to do. And the high status of a nabi should never be such that there's any type of blemish or any type of guilt on him or any type of accusation against him. Even if it be a wrong accusation, the Anbiya will try to stay very far away from that. It's mentioned in Hadith in Bukhari, it comes also, that one day Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was walking with one of his wives by a group of Sahaba, and they said, Assalamu alaikum, and Rasulullah then said, Wa alaikum salam, this is my wife. He was walking with one lady and she was in full burqa, so he walked and he told the Sahaba, Wa alaikum salam, this is my wife. O Sahaba, don't let any wrong thoughts come in your mind that thinking this is some other lady. I just want to clear it up. This is my wife. Even in the stories of our ulama, it is mentioned of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah that one day he was sitting on a boat and he had a bag with him, and this bag was very valuable, had money in it. So one man, a thief, was watching him in the boat and realized that Imam Bukhari was watching this bag and it must have been something of great value. So Imam Bukhari rahimahullah was sitting, and this man all of a sudden got up. And he said that my black or green bag, he looked at the bag, he saw, may have looked what's in it. My black and green bag has now been stolen. Somebody find it for me, please. When Imam Bukhari now looked and saw, so he realized that this person now is trying to, get the people to think that this bag is stolen. So as the people all started looking, Imam Bukhari then quietly slid it underneath and put it over shore, and it fell in the water. His own money fell in the water. After that, they looked everything, and they couldn't find anything. Where's the bag? So after everything was done, and they couldn't find it, they said, sorry man, we can't find it. So this man came and sat next to Imam Bukhari, and he looked at him. He said, what the hell you did with that bag? He said, after he knew, he said, you know what I'm doing. What'd you do with the bag? So he said, I threw it overboard. So he said, how could you throw it overboard? This is your money. You could have just said it's your bag and said and improving I didn't know what was in it. You could have said that there's this much in it, this amount in it, and they would have asked me, I didn't know, I would have got caught. I was just getting a chance, I'm desperate. Why couldn't you do that? So Imam Bukhari said that, yes, I could have done that, but maybe there might have been some people on the boat who would say that, maybe Imam Bukhari took this guy's bag. Maybe he took some of the money out and said the amount. You could have done that. They still would have started thinking about Imam Bukhari, and he told the man, I am a relator of a hadith, and nobody can have any thoughts like this about me. If anybody has these thoughts about me, then all of my ahadith of Rasulullah are finished. Nobody will be able to believe me. So therefore he sacrificed his own wealth in order to now uphold his own truth. The same way Yusuf alayhi salam has done this in this surah. First was to stay away from the zina, and now to gets the double satisfaction and to completely prove with no type of doubt that he was innocent. Now again he's ready. He told the Rasul this. Who knows if the shaitan's still around, right? Shaitan could also make this Rasul forget. The guy go back and forget about it for 7 years more in the prison. We don't know what could happen. That's why in hadith it has come that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when reciting this ayat, he said, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on Yusuf alayhi salam. He had great sabr. If it would have been me and the Rasul would have came, I would have left the jail right away. I would have left the jail right away. Of course, this was the tawazu and the humbleness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How much sabr he had, we cannot even explain. But Rasulullah wanted to show the ummah that how much sabr and how much tolerance Yusuf alayhi salam had, that in order to prove his innocence, he was ready to now sacrifice even more years in the jail. So when the Rasul came to him, he said, Irji', go back and ask about those ladies. Qata'na aydiyahunna, who cut their hands off. Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. Verily my Lord, He knows about their plan. This scam that they had and they planned against me, my Lord knows. Again, Rabbi here can mean Rabbi, my Lord, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It could mean his previous master, Azizi Misr. And there is ishara and an indication that it might be Azizi Misr, the governor before, because we know already that Yusuf alayhi salam, the first time we did this type of word, Rabbi, we said it also might be, that he had a great respect for him because Azizi Misr treated him well. And here also, he could have said that go ask the wife of Azizi Misr. Right? He could have said that. She was the main one. He could have said, go ask the wife of Azizi Misr that why you have now, what about her? She was the real one. But because of his respect of Azizi Misr, his respect of the governor, he did not want to embarrass him and have his wife come out like that. So therefore he mentioned these ladies who were involved in it also. But the real, culprit and the real one was the wife of Azizi Misr. After this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentions about these ladies. They were called, and Allah ta'ala says, قال ما خطبكن إذ راوتن يوسف عن نفسه قلنا حاش لله ما علمنا عليه من سوء قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصحص الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. Here Yusuf alayhi salam then, now the king comes and he calls these ladies forward and he says, Ma khatbukunna, what do you say? What is your speech? What are you going to say when you now try to solicit Yusuf alayhi salam against his own desires, against his wish? What do you people have to say about this? So they said, قُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ. They said, Allah forbid. May God protect us. مَا عَلِمْنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنْ سُوءٍ. We did not now see any evil in this man. Meaning, he did not get enticed at all. When he came out, we tried to seduce him and we tried to tell him to do this but he did not get seduced and he is free, he's an innocent man. After they said this, so now the wife of Aziz Misr was now compelled to say that I'm the guilty one. Now who else was guilty? So قالت امرأة العزيز, then the wife of the governor of Misr said, الآن حسس الحق. Now the haqq has come true. Hashasa, it's a weird word in Arabic, and Allah Ta'ala brings it in the Quran. Most of the ulama mention that it comes from the word hissa, and hissa means part. So ظهر حسة الحق عن الحسة الباطل. The part of truth now became apparent and separated from the part which was untrue, falsehood. So now falsehood went on one side and truth went on one side and it shined. So الآن حسس الحق. Now the truth has come out. I'm the one who solicited him against his own desires. I'm the one that tried to perform the fornication with him. وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And verily he is from those who are the truthful. ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنُّ بِالْغَيْبِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And then after that, whether Yusuf alayhi salam or now the wife of Aziz Misr said this, it is said ذَلِكَ. That was so that لِيَعْلَمَ, so that they may know أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنُّ بِالْغَيْبِ, that I am not now going to cause the mischief. I will not do mistrust when they are not seeing me. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي الْكَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And Allah Ta'ala does not make the treacherous, the plans of the treacherous, and the devices and the plans of the treacherous, Allah Ta'ala does not make it successful. Now the discussion here is, لَمْ أَخُنْهُ. Who said this? So according to some ulama, they say because the Aziz in Misr was just speaking, so it should be that she said this. She's the one. So then it would mean that ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمُ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنُّ بِالْغَيْبِ. The who would go back to Yusuf alayhi salam, or it could go back to Aziz Misr. That I am not now, I said this so that to show that I'm not going to do my mistrust when the Aziz Misr is not here, because Aziz Misr, the governor of Misr, was not there in that majlis when she said this. Or better it would be Yusuf, that Yusuf alayhi salam is not here right now, so I wanted to do this to show him that I'm not going to do his khiyanat. I'm not going to do mistrust of him. I'm going to say that I did it and he's innocent. So I did this to show that I'm not going to do the mistrust of Yusuf alayhi salam. I'm not going to deceive him when he's not here. And that Allah Ta'ala also does not make the mischievous people's plans, He does not guide it and He doesn't make it successful. And some ulama, they say that Yusuf alayhi salam actually then was freed. He came out and he said this. That dhalika, meaning me asking now to prove my innocence. لِيَعْلَمَ, that was to let it be known that أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ, that I did not now cause any mistrust, I did not do any mischief in the non-presence of who and the who going back to Aziz Misr. You guys understanding what I'm talking about? The Aziz in Misr is the one he's talking about. The governor of Misr, I did not now cheat him when he's not here. I didn't cheat him. And to show that Allah Ta'ala does not make the device and the plans of those people who are mischievous and treacherous, Allah Ta'ala does not give victory and does not guide their plans. So it could be that Yusuf alayhi salam said this. It could be also that the wife of Aziz in Misr said this. The next statement also, it could be Yusuf or it could be the wife of Misr. Since inshallah it is 9:15 and everyone's getting a little bit tired, so we'll stop there. And next week we'll repeat this ayat, usually the last ayat. That's when you guys are reaching your, you're full, it's done. Yusuf to theek hai. It's good, great story. Now let's finish it. The mind leaves. I know I deal with students. It's late night, so inshallah next week we'll go over this last ayat again because it's a little tricky with who said it, and then we'll go over the next ayat also and talk about the nafs. How many types of nafs are there in the Quran? And ma ubarri'u nafsi inna nafsa la amaratun bisu. Did Yusuf alayhi salam said this? Did the wife of Aziz ibn Misr say this? And then after this, Yusuf alayhi salam becoming the minister of finance, and then after that becoming the king, which is not mentioned, and then after that having those old brothers now come into the picture, and now the original dream that Yusuf had as a child, now seeing that come true, that inshallah we'll do next week, inshallah. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Yes. Says Yusuf, yeah. Many of the view Yusuf alayhi salam, some of the view, the common view, the Jamhur say that Yusuf alayhi salam said it.